Hello. I'm going to cover the Yongnuo YN622N triggers. This is them right here. When you put them on you put one on your camera, mount your remote flash on the other one. I tested these with a Yongnuo, brand new Yongnuo 565 EX2 or EX flash, and the Yongnuo flash works fine on my camera. But when I went to try these triggers, which by the way have a considerable learning curve, I'm pretty tech savvy, so it took me a couple hours to get an idea of how they operate, but they're a little complicated. There's basically two modes of operation. This little light here in the back, right here at the bottom, there's a light back here in the back. It flashes orange if it's in manual mode, and green if it's in TTL mode. This is when you press down the shutter and activate everything. That's when you get your light indication. And I'm going to give a little summary here, and then I'm also going to kind of demonstrate a little bit of how they operate. The problem I may have is I may have to use I'm using my D50-100 for this video. I have to switch things around, and I'm going to try to give you a little demo of how these things are supposed to operate, how the lights work and stuff. But this is just a summary of what happened, what I found out with I've put about 10 to 14 hours, I'd say, work into these, testing them, and essentially my summary of the results is the manual mode works great, it's 100%. The TTL mode does not work. Now that being said, TTL mode I get basically underexposed to the point of the photos being black. So I don't know if I'd call them underexposed or not. You just probably say the thing doesn't work. Now if I adjust up stuff to maybe 5 or 6 stops, my ISO and my bring my shutter speed down and my aperture down as far as I can, if I adjust like 5 or 6 stops, you might get a faint image of what I'm shooting, but I've tried all different shutter speeds, all different combinations. My camera does not have high sync shutter, high sync speed, so 1/200th is, I think, the sync speed, a standard sync speed of my camera. Now the Yongnuo 565 works fine, the TTL works great, manual works great, everything works 100% when the flash is mounted on the camera. But when I start using the triggers, I mount one of these on the camera and mount the flash on the remote. That's when I started running into issues. And I've watched probably every YouTube video available on these, and there's 2 or 3 others, one in particular that has the exact same problem that I had. His sample photos were almost black. They're severely underexposed. He had a D300, I have a D50-100, and so he had a D300 and had the same results. And he said his buddy with the D600, I think it was, tried him. He also had the same problem with his set of triggers. I think basically, from what I can understand, is that you cannot update the firmware in these triggers. There's no USB port. Yongnuo may be able to do it if they crack them open, and they might be able to burn a new, the EEPROM with some new firmware in there at their factory. I don't know. It depends on whether the EEPROM's in a socket or not. If it's soldered onto the board, then they're screwed, But a lot of times they'll put EEPROMs in sockets, and if that's the case, then they could probably upgrade the firmware on them and get them working. But it's kind of a grab bag out there. It's just you may get a good set and you may not. You may get a set like I've got. So they're great for manual mode, but you can buy the other manual triggers and they're less expensive. So you have to gauge on whether you want to take a chance. I'd strongly recommend buying these from Amazon or somewhere that you can easily return them. don't buy them e-packet from China, because there is a known issue with some of these out there floating around out there. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to the time frame either. These could have been sitting in the bin at Amazon for a year and a half. I don't know how long they've been sitting there. So the other guy that made a video that had a problem with his set of triggers that I saw, there's actually 2 or 3 videos where people were having similar problems that I did with the Nikon version. And this one guy, I think he made his video last July, and he had a set like I've got that doesn't. The manual, they work great as manual triggers. Now there is one little oddity about it. What's weird is sometimes when it goes to green, from green to, you put it into manual, and it starts going, and it flashes orange. Sometimes when you start using them in that mode, in manual, or you just put it in manual, it's really odd, but I swear it's like the TTL works. Sometimes in manual mode, it works, the TTL works. That's what's kind of bizarre about it. And I can adjust the shutter and aperture, and I get the exact same exposure every time. The camera is adjusting it with TTL, but it's supposed to be in manual mode. That's the problem. And so that's, with the flash set to TTL obviously too. But when you actually set these in manual mode, it really shouldn't matter. I don't think it matters that much you should set that in manual, but it should still do a manual flash based on what your camera says it should do, or whatever. But anyway, there was a couple times the TTL seemed to work, but it was supposed to be in manual mode. And then all of a sudden, for no particular rhyme or reason, then all of a sudden it would switch itself into manual, like it was supposed to be all along. And then all of a sudden, the shutter and aperture would change your exposure all over the place, and then I had to put the flash into manual mode to get it to expose properly. But it's kind of weird. It was really weird, but I never got good results when they were in TTL mode. When they were flashing, when they were in the green mode, they always underexposed. They never did work right. So in manual mode, they always fired. You can always use them as a manual trigger. They're 100%. I would buy these from Amazon. Buy them somewhere where you can return them. Like I said, don't buy them from the e-packet from China business, where it's going to take you a month to return them, and you're going to have to deal with Chinamen. You don't want to do that with these. I did buy the flash unit I bought from China. It came from China. I bought that off of eBay. HK Yongnuo photo or something like that. But that's, I think, directly from their factory, I believe, because they definitely came from China. But the flash worked great, so I got lucky there. But I worked a deal out because I figured I'd send these back to Amazon. It's a grab bag. I may get another bad set. So I decided to keep them because I don't have any triggers. I decided to keep them as manual, and I negotiated a partial refund on these from Amazon, so I didn't have to return them. So I don't know how happy I am with that, but it's better than nothing. And I still have a set of manual triggers, so I've got 60 bucks in these, so that's $30 a piece. So manual triggers are worth that. So if I never get any better results with them than I have, then I'm not out much. I will probably buy the dedicated transmitter they're now selling that has the LCD screen. I'll probably try that. Hopefully these will work as a receiver with that new transmitter, but if not, I may have to try to buy one more new transmitter, or one more of these too with it. But I'll probably give them one more try, and then if that doesn't work, I'm going to probably try that new brand I've seen out there called Halafel or something like that. It's available at B&H and a couple other places. I think Adorama has them. And it's a weird spelling. I'm not even sure I can spell it, but it's like Hahnel or something like that. And so they look like they might be decent. They look like they're probably German. They're German triggers, but I buy from B&H. Or here again, I'm not buying any more of these less expensive triggers. Don't buy. I got lucky. I bought these from Amazon, and I could have pretty easily returned them. Make sure if you get a set of these for Nikon, make sure you get them somewhere where you can return them. Like I say, that's a key thing. And if you do that, then you don't have to worry about it. You know, if you have some problems, you can send them back. But a lot of people have good results. I think it's just a grab bag whether you get a set that's got the right firmware in them. Like I said, because a user can't update the firmware. And I don't know whether Yongnuo can update the firmware or not. Like I said, it depends on if the EEPROM chip's in a socket. But anyway, I've gone on long enough about that. But I'll probably tack on an operational video to this. I'll have to use my other camera for that, but to give you an idea of kind of how they operate, you know, just to, you know, because they are kind of a booger to figure out. You know, the manual is translated from Chinese. It's you know, not the greatest. It's okay, but it's better than no manual, but it's not the greatest either. So anyway, that's basically my summary on this D5100, Nikon D5100, and the Yongnuo 565EX with these YN622N triggers. TTL mode, not so much. Manual mode, 100%. Occasionally TTL mode in manual mode. So it is what it is. Who knows? Maybe I'll use them a week or two and they'll start working magically. I don't know, but let's just say they're a little bit inconsistent. But they are solid as manual triggers for sure. And if you get a good set, like I said, I think you're golden. The key is, you know, you're taking it. You know, you just got to see if you get a good set or not. And if you bought them from a place where you can easily return them, then you don't have anything to lose. And the price is right on these. So that'll be my conclusion of the summary of the operation of these triggers. I've watched every video out on YouTube about these triggers, and you'll find other people that have the exact same problem I'm having with different models of Nikons. There's a guy with the D300. He throws up a couple of his sample photos, and they're 4 or 5 stops underexposed, just like mine are. So same problem I'm having. So that tells you right there that it's probably a firmware issue or some other issue with some of them that are out there in the supply chain. But anyway, that's the conclusion of my summary. I'm not bashing Yongnuo, by the way. I'm gonna probably, like I said, I'm gonna try their new transmitter and see if I can get one of these to work in TTL. If not, I'll probably buy one more of these TTL to try in TTL. I may buy some more Yongnuo flashes. So far, I'm very happy with the Yongnuo flash. But the price is right and the quality is there. It's just they're getting the bugs worked out of these, okay? And so, you know, I'm willing to bear with them and everything, like I say. And I'll use, if nothing else, I can use these as manual triggers. 30 bucks a piece, well worth it. Anyway, thank you, and I'll tack on an operational part of the video to this, and probably even get you some sample photos of how, you know, what these look like to show you the TTL mode's black. I mean, if I don't, the TTL mode's black, okay? And otherwise they work fine in manual mode as a manual trigger. So I may or may not put photos on here. I think you guys can take my word for it. They don't work worth a damn in TTL mode. It's underexposed. And I tried everything I could try. I did a factory reset on them a couple times. Reset them to factories, you know, the way they come from the factory, and nothing seemed to help. I tried every conceivable thing on my camera, and f-stop and shutter speed and all that crap, and you know, 1/200th is what my camera syncs at. So, but works fine in manual mode, and like I say, sometimes TTL seemed to work fine, but it was supposed to be in manual. It never worked when it was in TTL mode, though. Okay, so that's it on that part of the video. Thanks.